Welcome to episode 3 of FSD Doctor Talks. Fructose, the sweet poison inside us. This episode and a lot of the content that I'm discussing today about fructose is based on research, publications and podcasts by a famous pediatric neuroendocrinologist by the name of Dr. Robert Lustig. Robert Lustig is an emeritus professor at the University of California in San Francisco. He is known for his publications and advocacy and talks on sugar, metabolic health, obesity, etc. And did you see how well the car pulled out of that parking lot? Although I've had FSD for over 2 weeks, it still freaks me out when it does that because I'm not holding the steering wheel.
So, while the car drives, you've been saying there's a sugar that's worse than sugar.
Exactly, and that sugar is fructose. It's the part of the sugar that doesn't actually contribute to energy. It's actually the fat fertilizer for your liver cells.
So, if I'm eating an Oreo or even a granola bar, that's all fructose?
Not quite. So, it's a mix of glucose and fructose. So, each molecule of sucrose has one molecule of fructose and one molecule of glucose. The glucose is used for your energy, goes straight to your body and gets used for energy. The fructose, it actually takes a shortcut through your intestine and then straight to your liver.
So you're saying it literally wants to be fat?
Exactly, fructose wants to be fat. It actually is the most lipogenic molecule in our body. Wow, did you just see that? How it negotiated those treats? That is amazing.
You've mentioned leaky gut once. What does that even mean?
Yeah, I touched on leaky gut in my initial episode. Basically, your intestine is a pipe, okay? So, the pipe is actually transporting junk, which is waste products, and the good stuff is actually absorbed carefully through some tight junctions or gates in the intestine, and fructose damages those tight junctions. And when they open up, the toxins and some bacteria which are there in your gut actually get absorbed into your bloodstream, and that causes the body to mount an immune reaction. And so people who eat unhealthy, they actually have a chronic inflammatory process, and that is the start of metabolic ill health.
So all those ultra processed snacks are basically opening tiny holes in us?
Exactly. So 90% of the adults that we see around the world who actually are on the modern diets, they actually are walking around chronically inflamed.
All right. So how do we fix those gut holes? Is there a repair kit?
Actually, you have that repair system actually built into your body already. So the repair system that I'm talking about is what we call as your microbiome. So there are 3 layers of defense in your body. So there's a mucin layer, which is a thin layer that lines the pipe, and it's a slippery layer. It coats the cell's inner lining of the intestine. And then there's the tight junction, which I spoke about, and there's also the good bacteria that live on top of the lining of the gut. But you know that these bacteria, they have to be fed, and they have to be fed properly, and they have to be fed fiber. So when you don't give it fiber, the good bacteria actually start eating into the mucin layer to actually survive. So fiber is not just about keeping your bowels regular, it's actually about feeding the defenders. So just like this car is actually feeding information into the Tesla's neural network so that all other Teslas on FSD can drive just like we are.
Everyone's into intermittent fasting, skipping breakfast, eating late. Is that good for the gut?
It is. In moderation, I should say. So you have to be careful. So obviously long fasts, they're good for your insulin because they actually cut down on insulin resistance and improve your insulin spikes. But you have to understand that when you are fasting, the good bacteria are also starving. So it actually matters what you feed the good bacteria or yourself after these fasts. So you have to make sure that there's an adequate amount of fiber and or ideally some fermented foods, because the fermented foods have the short chain fatty acids, which are actually the substrate that the bacteria feed on. The bacteria obviously can make short chain fatty acids from the fiber. So literally they heal the gut wall.
So kombucha and sauerkraut over Fruit Loops?
Oh, definitely, because fermented foods always are better than fructose.
All right, confession time. Can I ever eat dessert again?
I think I quote from one of Dr. Robert Lustig's podcast. He says that he's for dessert. He just doesn't accept that you have dessert for breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. That's basically is going beyond just being a treat. It's actually overexposure. So breakfast, cereals, your juice, that's all dessert that's disguised. And over time that loads up your liver and it drives inflammation.
So maybe we need FSD for eating to stop us grabbing sugar every 200 meters.
That's right, because when I'm on FSD, it sticks to the speed limit, sticks to the lanes, and I don't have to worry about any of that. So thanks for listening about fructose. It's a brief episode just to explain what damage excess of processed food and fructose can do to you. I have to pay homage to most of the content, to information that I've obtained from publications, from Robert Lustig's work. Thank you for watching, and I have to end by saying it's not about the calories, it's also about the quality. Tesla drives, I guide. Thank you for watching.